Howdy neighbor, it's Rob here with this week's edition of Golden Rules, and we are continuing our series with how to buy a home. Again, the idea behind this series is for the first-time home buyer to try to demystify the process, make this a little bit less opaque, and hopefully give them some good ideas on what to do. But it also could be for someone that hasn't bought a home in 30, 40, 50 years. Maybe you've forgotten how the process has gone, or maybe things have changed since you bought your home. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. If it is, leave me a comment down below. I'd certainly love to hear about it. And with that, we'll continue on. Now, if this is the first time that you have been seeing me, I do absolutely recommend, I think this is video number 6 in the series, do go back and watch the previous 5 to make sure that you're up to speed on where we're at. But let's say that you have been following all along, and now we are past the option period. Repairs have been negotiated. We're in the contract. We are preparing for closing. Understand that this is a time when a lot of stuff is going to go behind the curtain, and you're not going to see your realtor working for you all that hard. You're not going to see your lender working for you all that hard. You're not going to see the title company working for you. You're not really going to know what's going on. It's okay to ask questions during this time. Absolutely fine, and I do recommend that you do so. But just know that even though you're not seeing those professionals work, trust me, those little legs are going as fast as they possibly can. This is a time when you absolutely need to be Johnny on the spot with anything that your lender asks for, or that the title company asks for, or that your realtor asks for. Understand that there are deadlines and that there are activities that cascade off of one another. I can't do A until I do B. And so you want to make sure that, if they ask you if your lender says, hey, I need your taxes from 2 years ago, your tax return, absolutely, you need to get that to them within a day or two, because until they get that, they can't complete that step, and then that will hold off completion of the next step. And that can absolutely slow down your closing timeline. So make sure that you're very responsive to requests that you get during this time. The loan processing will be going on. The title, if there are concerns with the title of the property, maybe there was an issue with the seller that, maybe it's inheritance, and they need to make sure that all the heirs have been contacted to make sure that they're giving you clean title when you buy the home. There's a lot of that stuff going on, in the background. The other thing I can tell you right now is don't buy anything. Don't buy anything. I can tell you horror stories of people that wrote a contract. They could qualify for the loan. Everything was good. And then they went off and bought tens of thousands of dollars worth of furniture, or they bought a new car or something like that. And all of a sudden the debt to income ratio changed, and now they could no longer afford their dream home, and they had to let it go bye-bye. And it was just a messy situation for everybody. And if this happened after the option period, you might also lose your earnest money, which can be thousands of dollars. So don't buy anything. If you're gonna buy furniture, if you're gonna buy a car, any of that stuff, do it after you close, because until you close, they are going to, up until the very last day before you close on the home, they're going to recheck that credit, and you want to make sure that you still qualify. And especially if you're even remotely close, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're probably on thin margins as it is. I can tell you a horror story of somebody that I had, a client back, this is very early on in my career, early in the 2000s. And I was working with an astronaut, and we got a contract in place. Everything was fine. He went up in the space shuttle. And while he was up in the space shuttle, his wife went out and bought $50,000 worth of furniture. And now they can't afford the home anymore. And he comes back down and he finds out, and of course he blows the gasket. The wife didn't know, she bought it all on credit. And so she was so excited to furnish her new house. And, now they're trying to give it all back, and they can't. And, he's trying to get the loan canceled. And he says, hey, I wasn't even on this world when this debt was taken out in this name, which is technically true. But unfortunately, they lost the house. Now, they were able to kind of get things sorted out. And 6 months later, I was able to help them buy a home. But just all the drama and the lost, the emotional energy that was spent on all of that was just an absolute nightmare. So don't put yourself in a situation. Don't buy anything during this time. By the same token, don't change your job. your credit, your lender is looking at your job history. You might have been at your job for 7 years, and now you're moving on to a better opportunity with more money. I will tell you, have conversations with your loan officer before you decide to jump ship and move to the next job, because the loan program that loan officer has you tied into may be saying, okay, well, we don't deal with anybody that's been on the job for less than 2 years, kind of thing. Okay, so if you are going to be changing work, absolutely, and you know about it, absolutely talk to your loan officer about it before you do any changes. If you can at all avoid changing jobs before you close, do so. If the loan officer says, oh no, actually the job switch will be good for you because you're making more money, great, go for it. But don't just assume that because you're getting more money that still qualifies you for the loan, because again, it could have a negative impact on that particular lender's criteria. So be aware of that and make sure that you're aware of that. And then the final thing that's going to happen during this preparing for the loan process is you're going to want to make sure that there's an appraisal done. And believe me, there will be. The lender will order an appraisal. This is usually the last big hurdle that happens before closing. And basically what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we have made sure that the buyer can afford to buy the house. Now we need to make sure that the house is worth what we're paying for it, okay? You can agree, it doesn't matter what the market is. In the early part of 2022, people were buying homes for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 above asking price. It doesn't matter if you and the seller agree. What the lender is looking at is, hey, if this buyer dies in an auto accident tomorrow, I'm stuck with this house and I've got to resell it. I got to make sure that it will resell. And they got to make sure that you didn't just fall in love with a house and overpay for an asset that isn't really worth that. So they will do an appraisal to make sure that the house qualifies for the loan that they're about to give you. So if you have any questions about that, do talk to your loan officer about it. But usually your realtor will have sat down with you to say, hey, here's the markets. Here's what's going on in the market. Here's homes of similar size in this neighborhood. And they will have gone through that with you at the time of contract to make sure that you're not overpaying for an asset that isn't really worth what you're looking for. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.